This is going to be a review of circumference and area of circles for 7th grade. On this sheet, you guys are going to practice going through area and circumference of circles. The first several problems are dealing with specifically with the radius, and then the last several problems are going to be working with the diameter. But again, you're going to have to work with it on both, because on both of these, you're doing circumference and the area. So we're going to take a look at the circumference first on a few of these, then we'll take a look at the area. Our formula that we're going to use, it's always on your formula chart, and there are two different ones, but the formula I want you guys using, just because it's simpler, is we're going to use circumference equals pi times the diameter. Keep in mind that pi does not change for us at any point. The value of pi is always going to be 3.14, and we're going to always multiply that times the diameter. As a quick reminder, on this one, they give us the radius right here. Our diameter, so radius goes only halfway across the circle. Diameter goes all of the way across the circle. So if our radius is 8, our diameter is going to be double that. So our diameter on this circle is going to be 16 inches. Now to solve for the circumference, and again, just a quick reminder, the circumference is the distance all the way around the circle. It's essentially the perimeter of the circle. So what we are going to do is we are going to plug in our diameter now. So again, we're still working with 3.14, and we're going to multiply that times our diameter of 16 inches. And when I multiply these, I get a circumference of 50.24 inches, because we were just doing circumference. Taking a look at the circumference on number 2, we are going to use the exact same formula. We are still using circumference equals pi times the diameter. Pi is always the same number, 3.14, and that's what we are going to multiply times the diameter. Again, on number 2, right here, they're giving us the radius, but what we need is the diameter. Diameter goes all the way across. So if my radius is 10.5 meters, my diameter is double that. So my diameter is going to have to be 21 meters. So what I've done is I've done 10.5 times 2. Now I'm back at the stage where I can just plug things in. So I'm going to do 3.14 times my diameter of 21 meters. I do 3.14 times 21. I get a circumference of 65.94 meters. Now we're going to go ahead and jump into the area portion of this. I'm going to go back to number 1 for the area. So now area, whenever we're doing this part, now we're talking about everything on the inside of the circle, not just the outside. The area formula that we are going to be using is we are going to use, let me back up here a little bit. We are going to use area equals pi times the radius squared. Now, a quick reminder for you guys, that square, that little 2 right there, means that we are taking whatever our radius is, and multiplying it times itself. This is pretty much the same thing as pi times radius, because we're just doing the radius twice. That's all this 2 means. So I'm going to keep going on this one. So we're still doing area. We are still using 3.14 for pi. And now I have to do this times my radius squared. So my radius, again, goes only halfway across the circle. So my radius on this circle is 8. Come back down here. My radius is 8, and it's 8 squared. So just tell you again, because some people are going to try to just multiply by 2. The formula now is 3.14 times our radius squared, which is 8 times 8. I'm going to simplify this a little bit. I've got 3.14, because I haven't even touched pi yet, haven't done anything with it, times 64. So now I can do 64 times 3.14, and I get an area of 200.9 6, and I forgot what our unit is, inches. Inches squared. And we have that little 2 on our inches because we were talking about area, everything on the inside of the circle. I'm going to go back to number 2, and we're going to take a look at another area problem. So again, we are using the exact same formula. Area is going to be pi times the radius squared. Pi is still 3.14. That radius squared means what we're doing is we're doing r times r. If you prefer that, I'm going to write it like that for now. But you have to remember that r squared is r times r. Our radius on this problem was 10.5 meters, so now I can just start plugging in what I have. So 3.14 times that 10.5 squared, which is the same thing as 3.14 times 10.5 times 10.5. When I multiply the 10.5 times 10.5, I get 110.25, and I still have to multiply that times the 3.14. Please note that I haven't done anything with pi yet. It's just we went from our pi here to 3.14 to 3.14. We haven't actually done anything with it yet. I'm just keeping that number there. So now I'm going to finally use pi times the 110.25, and I get an area of 346. And I'm not doing any kind of rounding today, so I'm going to do the 0.185. And our units were meters on this, so this is going to be meters squared. If you have any questions on the one with the radius, make sure that you come and ask. Now I'm going to do a couple with the diameter on this one. So now I'm going to take a look at number 9 and number 10. So number 9, I'm going to go ahead and take care of my radius. Right here, they are giving me the diameter, the distance all the way across. So I know that my diameter is that 17.4. My radius will be halfway across. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that 17.4 and I'm going to divide it by 2. When I divide by 2, I get 8.7 yards for my radius. We're going to start out with the circumference on this. So the formula for circumference on a circle, and again, circumference is the distance all the way around the outside of the circle. So circumference is going to be pi times the diameter. So I'm going to keep working through this. Pi is 3.14. That's not going to change for us. And my diameter on this problem is that 17.4. So I have to do 3.14 times 17.4. When I multiply both of these numbers, the 3.14 and the 17.4, I get 54.636 yards. Again, we're going to take a look at the circumference on the other one, and then we will come back to the area on this. On number 10, they give us a diameter of 22 inches. I would like to go ahead and have the radius handy. The radius is just halfway across the circle, therefore half of our diameter. So our radius is going to be 11 inches. So, circumference formula, same thing. Circumference is equal to pi times the diameter. Pi does not change for us, so we're still doing circumference equals 3.14 times our diameter. And our diameter on this one kind of slipped my mind, I believe, yep, 22 inches. So now I just have to multiply these two numbers, the 3.14 times the 22, and I get 69.08, and again, I think this is inches. And that's our distance all the way around the outside of the circle. Got to make sure that you're comfortable with the difference between circumference and area. I'm going to come back to number 9. We're going to go through the areas on both of these. So our formula for area, another reminder, Area is everything on the inside of the circle. So our formula for area when we're working this out is going to be pi times the radius squared. Our value for pi does not change, so it is still 3.14 times, and remember radius squared is r times r. I'm going to start rewriting. So we have 3.14, but now I need my radius. I already forgot what my radius is, so I'm going to have to go back and double check. Radius is halfway across the circle, so my radius is 8.7. So our radius of 8.7 squared, which again is the same thing, 3.14 times that 8.7 times 8.7. When I multiply 8.7 and 8.7, I get 75.69. So again, haven't touched pi yet, so this is still 3.14 times that 75.69. When I multiply both of these, we get a final area of 237. This is 0.6 repeating, because again, we're not going to round this time around. And our unit is yards, so this will be yards squared. Back to number 10, where we can do the area on that one. Area formula does not change for us, so this is going to be area equals pi times the radius squared. Pi is still 3.14. Keep in mind, radius squared is just r times r. I'm going to start plugging in the numbers that we have. So we have 3.14 times our radius, which is 11. So we have 11 squared. Again, I know you're getting tired of this part, but I'm going to show you again anyways. 3.14. It's the same. 11 squared is 11 times 11. When I multiply the 11 and the 11, it's 121. And now I'm ready to multiply both of these and get my area. So when I multiply the 3.14 times the 121, I get an area of 379.94, and I keep forgetting the units, inches. This is inches squared. So again, when we're talking about areas, everything on the inside of that circle. If you have any questions, make sure that you're asking them, or come to tutorials so I can help you guys out individually.